Was I muted?
Yes, you were.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
Okay,
No,
great. All right. Well, if anything comes up in the background, then just fire it over to me whenever, as
more do.
usual. Okay. Okay. So, can you all see the customer sat screen in front of you now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, just to kind of position how this works. Now, there are different levels of engagement with it. You would have the opportunity to engage at the kind of the most involved level because your call traffic comes through us, so we can control the end-to-end journey, if you like. Where quite a few of our customers, we don't actually have their NGN traffic. They just on this system anyway. They just transfer calls after the agent has handled their call. They transfer the call by tromboning it out of their building. Effectively, they put an 08 number embedded in a hotkey on the agent's desk. They'll press that. The agent will be greeted. After their PIN number, they'll enter their PIN number, and they'll transfer the caller, and the caller will do a survey. But we could actually script that piece to happen automatically, which is quite handy because it removes cherry picking. We all know that if an agent has a bad call, they're not going to be that motivated to put it through to a survey. So
I think the feedback from Fran I've had, and again Jenny and Keith step in if you feel to. I don't think they'll want to do every call. I think they will want to have an option of saying to the dealer, would you mind taking part in our survey? So that risk of cherry picking is still there. What they don't want to do is have a cart. They want. I think it's part of our cultural fit. They want to give the dealers a chance to decline.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll go through the facilities, and I've done a document on this, like an establishment document that gives you a bit more insight into the different ways in which you can integrate it into the way that you work, and that they involve various levels of technical kind of integration, if you like. So anyway, this first page effectively is the data overview, and that's a record-by-record list of all of the surveys that have been carried out. This is one of our existing customers that I'm showing you here, Caravan Club, and they use the method that I described earlier, which I think is a bit of an own goal because they're clearly cherry picking. When your scores are 4.81 out of 5 as an average, you're clearly cherry picking.
And I think we have to be honest with our internal customer feedback and say we could script it so it's automatic. It's up to, we'll go back and ask them the question, but they've made it clear at the moment that they do want to be able to say, can we ask you to do a survey?
Well, what's important is that the agents are bought into this as an application for self-improvement and evaluation, and that they're willing to take negative feedback as constructive, so that that they'll use it to drive themselves. And there's a number of other applications within this that we gear towards the agent being totally responsible, whether the customer thinks they're rubbish or they're great, that they're responsible for giving great service, and that's how we're positioning this service. So to go through this page anyway, at the top here you've got a summary of everything that's below. And this is an active filter that you've got right in front of you here. So if I go through the elements we've got a timestamp, date stamp, dialed number, which effectively is which survey are they running. And you can run multiple surveys. There's nothing to say you have to just have one survey, particularly if you're taking a control sample, which might be your benchmarking. There might be something else you want to find out, or a number of other things you want to find out. And what you don't really want to do is have really lengthy surveys. So you'll say, right, on survey 1, I'll do that on every 10th call, and that will be my benchmarking. On another survey, I want to find out something from our customers about the way we do our pricing or our contract lengths, or how we do swap outs of cars or upgrades or what have you. And you'll do another survey to get that bit of customer insight, and you'll run that on every 9th call. And you might run something completely different on every 8th call, as an example. So you would filter that by the campaign here. The PIN is what the agent has entered to come into the system. You've got the scores by each question listed here, total score, average, what team they belong to, the agent's name. In this case, we scrape their customer number out of their CRM and we apply it to the record, which
Right.
they find particularly helpful.
That's
so
quite
they can
important.
filter that down, perhaps by dealer number, to do some analysis later on.
How are you scraping that?
We're using our scripting tool. There are two ways to do it. Either they can send us, and this might be a preferred way for you to do it, is you could send us a file from your CRM that tracks the caller's CLI and the time they called, and then we can pump that into the record. But if you're using Transform and we're writing a basic script and then taking calls automatically into Survey, then that script could be looking at your CRM on screen and saying, right, that's the customer number in that field there, and I've been asked to push that into this record over here.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah. So status is literally, have they abandoned part way through this survey? If so, then it will show red. Playback is if we've captured verbatim at the end of the call, at the end of the survey, and we would do that for a number of reasons. You would typically, sorry, my screen's playing up there. Right, so you would typically, let's say your maximum score was 20 from your 3 questions. If the caller scores below, let's say 10, you might say, well, that's unacceptably low, and we want to know more about that because that could actually be a complaint or something that we want to do something about. They're obviously not happy enough. So you would play a particular message to them to say, we've seen that you've scored very low. We're not happy that you're not happy. Please can you spend a few moments telling us why, and we'll review this within 48 hours, and we promise to come back to you with a resolution. So that gives you a chance to give them a voice, and if you build that into a process where you do actually review it, then you can make that actionable feedback. So similarly, if if they score you very high, then that's a perfect opportunity to play a message saying, we're delighted that you're delighted with the service. It's really motivational if you could tell us a bit about why your experience was positive today. As we like to share this feedback with our agents for motivation.
I suppose there is a risk of a bit of a love in there, isn't there? I'm not sure. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure. Yeah, it could become a bit of a cheesy. We love you, we love us, and
yeah,
you do kind of.
Yeah, you have to pitch it right. But you know what's really powerful for agents is to just occasionally get a thank you from a customer. And this is a mechanism for making that easy. Not many customers put pen to paper, even though they're happy.
No, very true.
If there's a way to continually be, feeding positive vibes back to agents, and particularly if you're using this as a self-improvement mechanism, where they're really wanting to be competing with each other for top spot and be getting the best possible feedback, then that can only be a good thing for the organisation. So on this playback, effectively, it will tell you what the duration is if you hover over it, and if it's marked purple, then it means I've played it before. If it's marked pink, then someone else has listened to it. If it's grey as it is now, then nobody's listened to it at all. You can delete this record, however, it does keep a record that there was a record, and it will show who deleted it, and it will also pause before it will delete it fully in case somebody makes a mistake. So I think it waits 6 hours, and effectively leaves an audit trail in case there's somebody trying to manipulate their scores by removing bad records. And you can also restrict who's got access to deleting anything as well. Now, because this is an active filter, although we've got a filter up here to clear down what you can see, if you just click any of these, okay, I've been inactive for a while. Hold on. All right, so you'll notice that it's popped that into here, and it's changed all the scores up here. So now it's only displaying for me anything that's got a PIN number of 3212 in it. If I then unclick that and I might want to look at, it will change the scores up top again. I might want to only look only instantly. So we tried to make it as kind of user-friendly as possible, as well as giving an advanced filter, which allows you to really drill down into, what's shown in that set of fields below. What we're planning to do going forward is include another couple of columns to the right here. That would allow you to move a particular record into complaint handling. We'll open up another tab up the top, which will be complaint handling. So you'd click on the complaint handling button, and it would assign it a sequential complaint reference number, and also allow you to enter in a local CRM reference number, and it will append that to the record. And then you'll go into the complaint handling page, and it will effectively be a mini CRM around that complaint, allowing you to assign a priority level, assign tasks to individuals to resolve, and come back in. And then at the end, when you're closing off that cycle, to get you to resurvey that customer and get them to give you their feedback about how you've handled that complaint, and what their opinion is of the organisation at the end, so you can start to really see that end-to-end process and giving that level of customer care and what difference it makes to your Net Promoter Score and such like.
So you could give the example of 3212, that agent could have a login to this website with read-only access, so they could see what their scores were.
Yeah, so every agent has a private login to see only their scores, and they can launch a private wallboard to see how they're performing that day, and how they're performing over the last month, and they can look at where they are in the pecking order. They can listen to their comments. If I go into the settings here, they also have the right to be able to add notes, so they might get a little bit of bad press from a customer. They'll listen to the feedback and think, oh, hang on a minute, that's totally unreasonable. And I'm just doing my job here, and they've asked for us to give them £50,000 compensation for breaking a toenail. So I'm going to type that in here, so that when it gets listened to by my supervisor, they've got a bit of context.
Yeah.
So I have a voice, the customer has a voice, but also I've got a voice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure that I'm not getting bad press when it's not fair.
I think it's fair to say without this initial, because I don't think this initial request is the be-all and end-all. I think this is very much a starting point. I think they'll keep it simple, so I don't think we'll be adding notes with our agents initially. But I can see that being quite a powerful tool for if we were to extend this to customer services. Keith, what do you think?
Yeah, it looks really good actually. And is there some sort of show for managers? Could they do a graph or stats or reports and make it pretty and put it in their presentations?
Yeah, I'm going to come on to reports in just a second. This is all. We've built this in such a way that you can actually design how you want it to present information to you. We can set it up how you ask us to, but you can tinker with that as you go and add fields in. So you notice there that I just added the notes field in because I wanted to. And now I'm just going to take it out, and it's literally as simple as that. You go back in there, and there's no notes field anymore. So you are the masters of that destiny. You show what you want to show. If you don't want to have custom number in there, you take it out. It's just a field that you take out. Now, there is also a hierarchy that you can set up. So these guys have got, effectively, they set up a campaign at the top level, and then they've got teams, and then within the teams they've got individual agents in that hierarchy. So it's kind of quite useful to know that you could, you can have wallboards, customer sat wallboards that are set up by team, and then within that they've got a sub-wallboard that's showing, the team members who are competing against each other as well, which is pretty nifty, really. And they're all running the same survey, but they're just categorized and put in a hierarchy for you to be able to then compare them against each other in a much more visually acceptable way. Okay, if I pop into the reports now, this is really quite comprehensive. So if I go to create a new report, firstly, obviously, I would name my report, and you select your report type. If I select data, it will open up some new fields. If you, I don't know if you noticed that below. You know, it will grey out what you can't use.
Yep.
So I'll just put in my start and end dates, my start and end times, or if it's a period, I'll do an hour period or a day period, or up in here, you know, weekly.
It almost looks like our end users could use this.
Yeah, it's really it's kind of it's a bit Facebooky, you know, in you know, similar sort of look and feel. So we've got date. When you select the data that you want to input in here, you can search on date or on campaign. If you're selecting campaign, it will list them. If you're selecting agents that you want to report on, you can choose particular ones out of your list, or just go for all. Or if you want to report on particular questions in the survey, then you'll go to here. You know, it's all in here really. If you then want to report
on that date range, has it got a from to, or when you click on the radio button? Ah, right, yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, when in terms of your outputs, what do you want it to tell you? You know, do you want it to tell you the average score, what your net promoter score is, what your maximum score count is, how many have left, how many have left verbatim comments?
Bounce the phone in case it's your phone.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, I was talking to George. Sorry, he's trying to dial in. He's just arrived. He's got a problem with his phone. Sorry, guys.
Okay, no worries. So, yeah, this is essentially where you are just pulling out what you want to see in the report. You can see here we've got reward points. I'm going to talk to you about that in a little while. But you might want to just report on anything that was only complete surveys, or anything that was just incomplete surveys, or anything that's got a recording on it, and you know what the recording length was, etc. And then how do you want that to output to you? Do you want a table or graph, or do you want it to be sent to you as a PDF? Do you want it to be delivered to you daily by email, and then you can pop your email addresses in here, and then just save and run that report. And it will go off and do the work for you. I'll pop in here and just show you some that have already been made. There's no data there. Okay, so that's showing PIN numbers. Ideally it would show their agent name, but effectively that's doing a comparison of each agent's score, you know, their average score over a particular period of days, and you can export that to PDF just by clicking the button there, or export to CSV and then manipulate it locally. This isn't showing. Ignore that. Let me just show you one that's got a chart. So I'll just create one quickly.
If you ask to compare, either show you two evaluation with the differences is highlighted.
Sorry, what was the question?
I see report type is compare. Yep. In step one, you can choose compare, and then you will see two different evaluation with the differences highlighted, or how?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's why that's been built for that. I think we've lost some people.
No. I had to really bounce my web session timing out for some reason, so I just rebounced it. I think George has joined us as well.
Okay, great. Well, I'm just quickly generating a report here, and so I'll do bar graph, and I'll just save to
maximum score.
Average. Just do that. And cause count. Okay, so you can see I've got an enormous number of agents in this field, so it's a bit, it's a bit crowded. But effectively, this will just show you all of the data that you want to. So I'd in an ideal world, you might go in and do teams rather than.
Yeah, or you would. I guess what we would do is we'd look for agents getting the lowest score and then just search on them, really.
Yeah. Save and run that. Oops.
It's after a name. Yeah.
Yeah. That should run for me now. Oh, I needed a different date range. Sorry. Shall I just move on? I mean, I guess you get the idea. It's
what you got is to summarise, is a very powerful reporting engine, which would probably keep our MI guys happy for weeks. Being really honest.
Okay. We've tried to go to the nth degree, and
I think you're ready. Just to set expectations as well. We're taking baby steps with this. So
yeah.
Looking at the way you can cut the data here, I don't think we're going to get close to looking at kind of cut to start with. However, going forward, I can see us exploiting more and more of that.
Yeah, great. Okay. All right. Well, I'll nip off into wallboards now. So there are two types of wallboards. Our main wallboards here. If I just pop up a quick wallboard view, this is an aggregate of the data. If it will pop up for me. It might have logged me out here. Oh no, here we go. Okay, so what you can see on the right-hand side here is a team view, and is effectively a leaderboard. What you'll have is when there's data coming through here, you'll have question 1 will have a bar which will show what the average score is for question 1, and that will just update on every single call, and the same for question 2 and 3. The total number of calls that have been taken today, the total number of surveys that have been not completed, and then the average score per survey. And this swingometer here effectively is your net promoter score, which will change throughout the day, but that can actually represent whatever other score that you want to, if you've got an internal measure.
Brian, just a question on this. This is obviously a live web page. So when you say wallboard, you mean it's a web page?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. That makes sense. Because for us, a wallboard is a fixed plasma display. We wouldn't want to put this on a plasma. Obviously, we've got 3 questions that we're looking at recording. Now, the first 2 you can absolutely score, but the third one is an opinion of how do you want to be contacted. How clever can you get with a wallboard? Because really, question 3 will not. You can't score that, if you like. It's, do you want to be contacted by email, telephone, fax, whatever? So could you take that out but still have the first 2 in the graph?
Yeah, you can have a 1-question survey if you want, or a 2, or a 5, or a 10. We'll amend it accordingly. But this is just an example view with how we present a skin. But you can even customize the look and feel of this.
Well, I love
the colours.
I'm loving the fact that you've got the colours of the Caravan Club. You've got their logo. I think that's excellent. I don't know, George, Keith, if you've got any views on this, or Jenny, sorry. I just think that's quite powerful.
Well, let me
Calm
show
down,
you.
Chris. It's just a web page.
Thank you, Keith. Can you imagine if you put this in front of David, he would, or Ivan, they would love this.
Well, what's really quite nifty is that you can have various views, and if you look on this screen here, you can tick these boxes and it will rotate through the different views. So that would be an agent view. The other one was a team view, and this was the entire company. And it will just rotate on that, we call them wallboard, but that web page, and pop up the ones that you've told it to display. I can also go in here and edit all of the fields in that wallboard. So I can change my color scheme very simply. I can change my background image, and I can change my logo, and I can change my title. I can change the low and high score and medium score settings and how they appear on the wallboard. I can change the colors that show on on each agent that pops into the leaderboard. So if they're a top scorer, they have a different color border around them so that they're highlighted. I can change the color of my ticker and the color of the scores. I can change the date ranges that I'm using to display on the screen. I can adjust who shows at the top. Do they show at the top for their scores, or the number of surveys they've done, or their average score, or the number of reward points that they've earned, or whatever it may be. And I can edit the news feed that comes in at the bottom. So I can pre-text something in and that will rotate. And I can tell it how long to wait before it pushes in the next one. Or I can go and tell it to grab some external news from BBC or wherever.
And Brian, how long does this take to set up, this kind of level of detail?
We've been running these for about 3 years. Our first one was really, really basic, and it was a request from ICI Paints. Mm-hmm. It was about 2 months after they started using it that they said it was really making a difference with their agent engagement, and they said, can you start pushing this to a live screen? And we did that, and then they had another leap forward in agent engagement, and their customer satisfaction, they said, directly improved by 213% by running this. And it was really basic by comparison. Now, we put in a massive load of money into this about 6 months ago. And in the last 2 months, the results of that are what you're seeing now.
And how many customers do you run CSATs for?
We're doing, I think it's 12 or 13 now.
Right.
We've got Caravan Club. You can see we've got Tesco Club Card on here.
Oh,
we've
right.
got Coca-Cola, Sony Ericsson, Orange Mobile.
And are they customers of yours anyway? Are these just people that have come to you saying, I want to do a CSAT survey?
About 70% of them have come to us specifically for this now, or we've gone to them rather.
Right.
And you know, we're talking to another 100 or so. It's become quite a big focus for us now because it's just so goddamn good.
I know you've probably got a dozen things you will show us. No, I just want to be Mr. Practical and Pragmatic. Shut up, Keith. Obviously, we've got a requirement for Fran, and it's a 3-question survey, quite straightforward. Yeah. Talk me through how this will work from an agent point of view. Will the agent, so the agent takes a call from a dealer. Yeah. Will the agent then transfer that call to a specific number? How does it work?
Well, what I would do is I would say keep it simple to begin with, which obviously you want to do. So yep. I would say we'll give you an access number. Yep. Keith or George can program that into a transfer button hotkey on that team's desk, mm-hmm. On that agent's desk. They will press that button. They will then be greeted. They'll enter a PIN number, which will identify who they are. They'll transfer the caller into the survey. It'll ask the 3 questions, capture the data, capture verbatim if they want to, and the rest is all done. All of this build work is just a case of setting up your parameters, and we'll have you ready by the end of the week.
So to move this forward, again, sorry, being Mr. Pragmatic, so to move this forward, you're going to need a list of agents to test with, and we've got the questions. Keith, is Mark Henry recording those for us?
I sent him an email. He hasn't come back to me, so I can chase him, yeah.
Could you give him a bit of a chase so that we can get those over to Brian?
Yeah.
Because what I'm keen to do, Brian, is to get this set up and running, even if we're not using it in anger, so that Fran can have a play and make sure this is what he wants. I would imagine he'll want to trial this over a few agents first of all, before rolling it across his whole floor. And I guess the other question I have is you said it by the end of the week. Is that a realistic time frame, or is that pushing it?
No, it's only Tuesday. I've just taken an order today that we'll have ready by the end of tomorrow. So. Okay,
that's good.
Yeah.
I have one more question, which is Michelle sent me through a lovely document, which was costs, and I have to admit it lost me a bit. So I was glad about having the call.
Shall I call it up?
No. Are you going to get to that in a second?
Yeah, I mean, why don't I just finish off with
this,
and then I'll call that up and I'll explain that to you, yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay. Right, so we have some other wallboard views as well, so you can create some custom wallboard views and really just rotate these in, or they can be available for managers or what have you who want to keep an eye on on different bits of information. Again, these are all customizable. So this might be just a closer team view, for example, that just rotates like that. We're really just trying to give you options for how you display your own information, or you can create your own your own charts from new just by selecting any of these. This one, for example, is a line chart view instead, and it will just have all of the different bits of data. And if I want to sort of narrow down, I'll just click on these and extract some of that data to change my view, pop them back in again. So that's just very quickly on that one. Okay, if I go to alerts, now if you get a high or a low score, you might want to send an alert. I'll assume it's going to be on a low score. If you get a particularly low score, you could say that's an indication that they're really not happy and they might want to complain. So you might want to be alerted to it and investigate. So tell me if the total score is below a certain score. So if it's below 10 out of 20, I want to know about it. Send me the recording, i.e. their comments at the end. Give it a description, unhappy, customer, for example.
It's not below.
And then where do you want that sent?
Okay.
You just put your emails in there, and then every time a survey is done that breaches that parameter, it will send an alert. In the body of the email, it will have the record, the survey record, and they can log in to listen to the verbatim.
Coaches will love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So if I then come back into rewards, now this is, for me, this is our best development, but it would never have come about with all the other work. And we're in discussions with Tesco Club Card about opening up, Club Card rewards off the back of this, but also with Argos and with Red Letter Days. So effectively, you can create a reward campaign. That could be a daily or a monthly campaign, for example. You would put in here the minimum number of surveys that they need to have done to qualify for this, and you'll essentially say, how many points will I give if my agent gets between 0 and 25% of the maximum score per survey? Well, actually, probably deduct some points, so you might put -10 here. That might be -5. This might be 0. This is giving good service, so you might give it 5 points, and you'll give this 10 points as an example. If they get a maximum score, say 20 out of 20, am I going to give them a bonus? Well, hell yeah, I'll give them a 10 for that. If they're above average for all of the agents that I've got, am I going to give them a bonus? Yeah, so I'll give them 50 points for that. If they're below average, I'm going to take away 50 points. If they're the top scorer, I'm going to give them 100 points. If they're in second place, I'll give them 75 points. And third place, I'll give them 50 points.
I think you can reward them for being better than yesterday. That's very cool.
Now, do you know what the trouble with that is? That I've sort of thought, when I've been thinking about it, is if they're better than yesterday, then if they have a bad day, then they're probably going to be better than that day, the next day. So,
yeah, but if you're looking for a consistently high level,
yeah.
Do you mind giving them? I mean, how you transfer these reward points into cash or presents or points means prizes, whatever, is up to us. But exactly. If you're seeking a consistent level, do you mind paying that if it's gonna get you a consistently high score? No.
And that's the precise reason that we put that box in there. But I think we need to give it a little bit more thought about how it actually works in practice for that whole consistency piece. Because you're absolutely right.
You might want to make it an average over a week, which is probably more appropriate.
Yeah. I think there's an algorithm in there somewhere that will work really nicely. We need to give it a bit of thought.
Did you guys develop this in-house? This is a PT tool.
This is start to finish. This is ours. Start to finish.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Yeah, me too. We've got some great developers. I never would have thought they could translate what our ideas are into something that's so easy to use and so strong. Right, what else do I need to show you? I think that's it. I think we've covered everything on there. I'll just call up for you.
I've just got one question, Brian. How do you get the actual content into there, so the recordings of the questions?
So
question one. So you actually do. So you can't do it. It's not configurable by us on this.
At the moment, we're not letting people load up their own audio.
Right,
okay, but we are planning to enable that. But most of our customers can't be bothered to do all the recording, so they send us a script and we knock it up here.
Okay.
So just to save yourself a bit of work, give it to us and we'll do it for you. If you want it professionally recorded by a voiceover artist, then we've got a library that we use and we can send you some samples and give you a price on that. But if you've got an in-house voice, we'll just tell them, if you can send your script over to us to review it, so that it's being done in the right way to give the right flow for the people that are taking part in the survey, because often I ask for a script from the customer and they've got no real understanding of what the caller's experience is of that survey, and it's just pitched all wrong.
What do you mean by a script? Because obviously what we have is a series. We have 3 questions.
I had a conversation with Matt the other day about this, and he sort of pointed me in the right direction. I haven't sent you the script. I can send you the script just so you can check that what I've asked the voice of Motability to record is correct. But he gave me, like for example, there was a beginning and ending, and there was a certain amount of prompts that we hadn't done about, can you repeat the question, or if you want to hear the question again, press 9, or so. I think we're on the right track.
Yeah, I mean, there's the error messages, but there's also making sure you're explaining the scoring rules correctly and that type of thing. So, just if you can let me glance over it, if it needs a little bit of polish, I'll add that and send it back over for your voice of Motability to sort out. Okay, I just need to pull up some pricing for you. Go through that. I won't be a second.
No worries. I think I get the pricing schedule, but I just want to make sure that my thinking is right before. Because looking at this, you're saying we have to list each agent. Well, we've got to have how many agents in dealer services, guys? 70?
Yes, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'd fall into the 51 to the 100 category. The setup fee of 750 quid and a package fee of, is that two? I think that's $2,000 a month, I'm assuming.
That's right, and that includes your surveys up to a certain number. I think it's
20,000. That's 20,000 surveys. So in a month, it's going to cost us $2,000. We get 20,000 surveys, and we have up to 100 agents. Now, if I want to have 20 surveys running, that's fine. That's still covered in that £2,000.
It is, but you'll need to pay a setup fee for each survey that we set up.
Nice, sneaky survey.
But if you're doing that many, then we won't charge you that.
We won't be fine, don't worry. But obviously, this is a no contract monthly. So you're going to send me an invoice for $2,000 plus 750 to set up, and we're done. That's 1 month. The next month you'll send me another $2,000, etc., etc.
Yeah. So it's a 90-day. There's a 90-day rolling 90 days, the entry level. And then if you want to make a longer commitment, then there's price break. And if you do a 12 months and you pay up front for the year, then there's another price break.
Okay.
So
we're looking at a minimum of 6,750 quid for this for 3 months.
If you're going to do that many agents,
we will.
But the entry level is 10 agents. So,
yeah, but we've got 70 agents plus in DCS, so that's what we're looking at.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, then in that case, because we're dipping our toes in the water with this is the first time we've done it. I'm happy to commit to that. Say, right, this is a 90-day contract with up to 100 agents. If this takes off, obviously we then come back and discuss discounts and what have you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll send you over establishment documentation, and there's an Excel sheet where we'll need a list of agents.
If you can send that to Keith, Keith's got that information. That'd be great. Keith's leading this from a MO point of view. He's our point man. Keith, do you have any questions? Do you know what your next steps are?
Yeah, I'm just about to email you the scripts, Brian, so we can have a look at them to make sure we got it right, and then I'll chase Mark once you've come back to me, actually,
Okay.
rather than get Mark to do it twice.
We better get a list of agents and teams from, I guess, Kelly. Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic. Lovely. Brian, I really appreciate your time today. This is the KCOM stuff is very useful. This CSAT stuff, I'm actually genuinely impressed. It's far more detailed than I thought it would be. So well done.
Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate the feedback. I'll send you all a link to the recording if you want anyone else to have a look.
I think we might take up on that. Thank you.
Or likewise, if anybody wants a one-to-one, then just get them to drop me a line and I'll sort something out.
Will do. Any other questions, guys? Are we all happy?
Yep.
Brilliant.
Yep, I'm happy.
Brian, thanks again, Brian.
Thank you, folks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank
you, bye.
Bye.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.
Cheers, bye.